Imagine living in a nice house with the advantages of quiet surroundings and a view of the Oregon coast with the beautiful sunsets every night. Now imagine having to leave that house due to erosion. The cliff that your house sits upon is slowly getting closer to your house as your backyard is being destroyed. Chronic hazards are natural yet problematic processes that cause and can speed up the rates of coastal erosion, especially with the help of mankind. Having a better understanding of these natural processes versus human-originated problems will make you more aware of your actions and the decisions that you make. According to the Oregon Coastal Atlas website, 45% of the Oregon coast has dune-backed shorelines, which are very easily eroded. Maybe if people realize that we're slowly reducing the 1,150 public access beach access points, they would do their part as to not speed up the erosional processes. I will be discussing coastal erosion because I've always had a love for the coast. I hope that what I share with you brings you to realize the appreciation and respect that you too should show towards our Oregon coast. The online Webster's Dictionary defines chronic as being a habit, something that's not likely to change. They define a hazard as a source of danger, something that can cause injury or harm. And finally, erosion is defined as a gradual weakening, loss, or destruction. With these definitions, we're able to determine that coastal erosion caused by chronic hazards is something that we can assume will keep happening and may put our lives and our property at risk of being destroyed. In the next few minutes, I will be discussing the three types of chronic hazards that affect our coast: wave attack, sand inundation, and human activities, and some possible solutions to these hazards. First, let's look at wave attack. According to the Oregon government website, wave attack occurs along dune-backed shorelines as wave overtopping, or flooding, and undercutting, erosion, seems to be the problem. Although this is a natural process, it can still affect humans, whether it's slowly taking away a beach, eroding a sea cliff that many houses sit upon, or flooding wetlands that could overflow into roads. The last time Oregonians were largely affected by wave attacks was during the storm in early December of 2007. After the storm and recovery efforts were starting to take place, I was able to go to the beach and take some time to see all the damage caused by the storm, as well as the rivers and streams that had become very flooded. At Cannon Beach, there's a concrete walkway with a few 180-degree turns to get to the sand. On a normal day, waves did not crash anywhere close to this walkway, but after the storm, wet sand covered the entire walkway as well as drenched drift logs. This meant that during the storm, the wave attack, it crashed high enough so that the entire walkway was filled with water and all the logs floated through the zigzags all the way up. If the wave attack would have been any more catastrophic, the waves would have reached the buildings and the roads that were right next to that beach. In any case that revolves around erosion due to wave attack, the preferred solution would be non-structural. However, sometimes things like jetties, bulkheads, and seawalls are necessary. According to geologist Paul Tomar, property owners and state parks are most affected by coastal erosion due to wave attack. In order to stay safe, people need to think about putting their safety before a beautiful view of the ocean that may only be a memory after a few years of erosion. If you build atop a sea cliff, you better be determining what you consider a safe distance from the edge. Secondly, let's look at sand inundation. Put simply, this is when there is too much sand in one area. Oregon Coastal Futures is an organization whose website explains that something as simple as vegetation controls or even a jetty can cause sand to build up in other areas. These other areas will become inundated with more sand than nature was meant to have there. If some decided to take the scenic loop near Sand Lake, they would find a road that twisted and turned with large sand dunes on either side of it. During some stretches of the road, it actually seems dangerous to drive on it because so much sand blows in every direction that all you can see is sand. You can't even see the lines on the road. Some humans seem to be trying to control the weather, erosion, and natural patterns by building structures and roads in the path of blowing sand. Nature is trying to take its rightful land back over. If humans continue to do the things that hurt the coast and make it erode more, large beaches will become inaccessible because of the sand inundation blocking the access points. Those small, secluded coves in nooks and crannies that very few people know about will soon become flooded with people, and spending a day at the beach will soon be comparable to a stressful day at the mall a few days before Christmas. The solution that makes the most sense is to let sand go where it wants to. Let nature take its course, and as it does, we can build our homes and our lives around it. Finally, we will examine our own lives that affect erosion along the coast, human activities. I would assume that most people who have gone to a bluff-backed beach are guilty of using their finger, a rock, or a stick to carve into the sand. I know I've done that in the past. Since bluff-backed cliffs are loosely packed with wind-blown sand, these graffiti carvings make not only a less stable cliffside, but a less stable cliff top, explains the Oregon Coastal Atlas. Since in this case, humans are the primary reason for the rapid and unnatural erosion, this obvious solution is to make smart decisions. Don't do things that will damage or harm the coastal structures. If the natural sea cliffs are harmed, the buildings and roads on top of it will be harmed as well. And it also puts the people inside the homes and driving on the roads at danger because they don't know when those things might be in danger. Hopefully now you all know a little bit more how to keep yourself safe from coastal hazards like wave attacks, sand inundations. And hopefully you will be able to be more responsible in choosing your human activities. The next time you go to the coast, you may find yourself noticing different areas that have been affected by chronic hazards, being more careful about your actions that cause coastal erosion, and even making small changes in order to help reduce the rates of coastal erosion. I've discussed this to tell you a little more about what chronic hazards are, why they occur, and how humans play a part in the erosion process, and what types of solutions are most favorable. So in conclusion, the next time you go to the beach or have a say in where a coastal home or building is built, hopefully you'll have a little more insight into the dangers of certain areas and how we can preserve the not yet worn down beaches.